Please welcome Volodymyr Shalkivskyi.
Thank you very much, I appreciate your initiative to have my community, Ukrainian community, with me. It's important for me to have such sign of solidarity, and the idea with the national anthem is also very appreciated. If you translate our anthem, it's actually about struggle. Ukraine is an ancient country, more than 1,000 years old, but it's unfortunately our destiny. We are in the middle between West and East, and we had always to defend our territory, our land, our ethnicity from the foreign forces. So the words of our national anthem are very symbolic those days, because it's about struggle, about a very high morale, and that we are not going to surrender. So I believe everyone in the world had possibility to witness that Ukrainians are fighting, fiercely fighting, and defending our country. But why it happened? Why it happened now? A number of factors. I believe it would be worth not to repeat political statements about solidarity and how everyone concerned, but just to give something new. So I will try to be brief. There are a combination of factors. First of all, make no mistake, this is not about NATO aspirations of Ukraine. This is not about attitude towards Russian speaking in Ukraine. What kind of attitude can be questioned by Kremlin when we have at least 300 Russian schools in Ukraine, while there is not any Ukrainian school in Russia, while we have 5 million Ukrainians in Russia. This is about a sick idea of a dictator to restore Soviet Union, something that constitutes the biggest tragedy for him personally. And he believed that this is the perfect timing. Russia is strong enough. The West, it is not correct to say the West was weak or is weak. In Putin's mind, West was divided. West was not united. So it was easy to play the game with West in order to divide and negotiate. Another point, of course, significant miscalculation by Kremlin, by Mr. Putin himself. While in the office, Mr. Putin effectively eliminated all independent thinkers, all people who can question him in terms of delivering the accurate or alternative positions or information. So during those years, only people who are loyal enough in terms of delivering only positive news survived. So believe it or not, but Mr. Putin do not use internet. He do not trust internet. He believes that Western media are just the channels for the Western propaganda that are used by Western governments. That's the story of Russia, actually. How do you, as you know probably, the only two independent media in Russia was closed just a couple of days ago. So every morning he receives the file with information from his intel about news around the world. And this picture during years was significantly compromised in terms of, if you compare it to the real situation in the world. So he started to believe that, yes, actually what my intelligence is saying about Ukraine is true, that Ukrainian government is anti-Russian, it's pro-Western, it suppresses Ukrainian people, and what you need to do is just to invade the country with a short winning campaign, 3 days, 5 days max, install friendly government, Lukashenko type in Kyiv, eliminate all pro-Ukrainian activists and Ukrainian parliament members, and there was no intention to destroy Ukraine. It was this intention to destroy Ukrainian ethnicity, because he wanted to recreate Soviet Union. And Ukraine was just too important for him. There is no way you can recreate former Soviet Union or Russian Empire without Ukraine. Believe it or not, Russian soldiers in their backpack had not spare munition or food supply, but parade uniform. So they were supposed to capture Kyiv and have parade along our streets in the next couple of days. That is, it explains to some extent why are those huge columns of the Russian military machines are just stuck in the fields without moving, because they run out of oil, of petrol, they run out of food, they don't have clear instructions from their commanders, they are asking the locals how to get to the Kyiv. So it's quite amazing in terms of war planning. Another side of the story is so-called support of pro-Russian parties and pro-Russian activists. So, of course, it was long-term planning. It was not the statement of Mr. Putin was actually recorded 3 days before the attack. So it was planned operation. But the significant side of success of this operation was kind of devoted to the operations by the so-called sleeping agents, Russian agents in Ukraine, and pro-Russian parties. According to some estimates, Kremlin channeled $5 billion to support pro-Russian parties, Russian activists, and they were supposed to, along with the military attack, to have to seize the power in local administration, and but welcome to corrupt Russian regime. So $5 billion was kind of announced, and nobody knows how much money actually ended up in those poor spies, because probably Kremlin kind of strategists thought that if they provide with enough money, they will end up not in Kyiv, but in Monaco. So it was total failure of Russian conspiracy program or idea that it will be supported by pro-Russian coup, effective elimination of military objects, and of course very warm greeting by ordinary Ukrainian citizens. So again, Mr. Putin truly believed that people will greet with flowers, but the fact is people are greeting with Molotov cocktails. And it's also very important, because you can win a war against foreign army, but you cannot win the war against free people who are determined to fight for their freedom. I will stop here, because I know that the most important part is questions and answers. I can only add that I am really grateful to Australia for all support that is provided by the government, by ordinary citizens. We're receiving flowers every day in our embassy. We are having, 3-4 calls per minute. Someone is asking about bank accounts where they can donate money. Some are proposing host Ukrainian families. Some are actually traveling to Ukraine to help. It's very touchy. I am really thankful. It's challenging time, but it's easy for me to work in Australia. Some of my colleagues work in Belarus. Believe me, it's quite a different story. I believe that this kind of support that we receive from around the world, and Australia is an important part of it, is crucial, because so far there is no indication that Kremlin is going to back off, that they are kind of planning of pulling back the troops. They're sending their negotiation team for consultations. Actually, today our foreign minister Kuleba will have a meeting with the Russian counterpart Lavrov in Turkey. But their mandate, their agenda, Russia is ready to accept our surrender. They are not ready to talk about some negotiations about peaceful resolution. No. There is no indication that Kremlin is ready, honestly, discuss how to end it. And of course, we will use any opportunity that we have in order to stop killing civilians and children. Another point, final. Every war in the world eventually ends, sooner or later, hopefully sooner. We will need some kind of agreement with Russia. We have more than hundreds of years of history of agreements with Russia, bilateral agreements, that were always, the terms of those agreements were always violated by Russia, by their leaders. So this time, we will need third party to act as a guarantor of that agreement. I don't want to speculate about who is going to be, what country organization can be involved, but we need someone to have Russia commit and actually respect the provisions of that agreement, because we do not trust Russian government. There was idea about UN Security Council. Having Russia as a member of UN Security Council, of course, make situation more complicated, but who can be included in that agreement? It's a good question. But we will pursue this discussion, this dialogue, because we would like to be free, democratic, liberal democracy country. We belong to the European family, and there is no way we will give up. Thank you.